One day, I decided to get tested for STDs. Not because I had symptoms, but mainly to emotionally reassure myself. I just wanted to make sure everything was fine, just to sleep peacefully at night. After making that decision, I called my neighbor across the street. He's 3 years older than me, and I consider him somewhat of an older brother. I explained that I had made an appointment for a test and asked him what it involved. He replied, reassuringly, "Oh, it's no big deal. They ask for a sample of semen, take a swab, and of course, a blood sample. Nothing too scary." With this information in mind, I felt prepared, though slightly nervous. On the day of the appointment, as I was heading to the clinic, a wave of anxiety hit me. I couldn't stop thinking about that part where I'd have to provide a semen sample. Will I be able to do it? I wondered. But I told myself, come on, it'll be fine. When I arrived at the clinic, an older woman called me by name. She had a somewhat forced smile, as if she'd been doing this job for too long. She handed me a clear cup and escorted me to the restroom, saying, "Please go here." I had expected a comfortable room, maybe with a chair and some materials to relax. But no, it was just a regular bathroom. I shrugged and thought, well, it'll do. Once inside, I looked around. I was hoping for something to help, like magazines or videos, since my neighbor had told me they sometimes provided such materials. But there was nothing, absolutely nothing. I thought, seriously? They expect us to just use our imagination? Disappointed but not discouraged, I told myself it wasn't the first time I'd have to rely on my imagination. So, I began. Yes, there I was, standing in front of the sink, focusing. And, against all odds, I succeeded pretty quickly. Too quickly, in fact. So quickly that I decided to stay a little longer in the bathroom to avoid looking like a freak. After waiting what seemed like an eternity, I finally handed the filled cup to the nurse. Her expression immediately made me uncomfortable. She seemed impatient and slightly annoyed by the time it had taken me. I followed her down the hallway, feeling the awkwardness grow. She placed the cup on a table, looked at it carefully, and then picked it up again. She shook it lightly, as if checking something. That's when everything went sideways. Her face shifted from confusion to total horror. She turned to me and said, in an incredulous tone, "Sir, we only needed your urine." At that moment, I felt the ground beneath my feet give way. My face turned red, an intense warmth flooded over me, and my legs became weak. I wanted to disappear, evaporate, run away from that room. There had been many embarrassing moments in my life, but this one surpassed them all. And the worst part was that I had nothing to say. No apology, no joke to lighten the mood. Just a heavy and unbearable silence. After providing a correct urine sample and going through a few other tests, I left the clinic as quickly as I could. Reflecting on that day, I realize maybe she deserved it. She could have been clearer with her instructions. But on the other hand, I also made assumptions, and that's how two misunderstandings led to a situation where an elderly woman ended up holding a cup full of my soldiers. Even today, when I look in the mirror, I think of her expression when she realized what she was holding in her hand. And every time, I can't help but laugh and shake my head. Ah, what a memory.